I wish I could see into the future. If I could, I would try to find out what will people say about this philosophy and meditation practice that I created, that is the unified meditation. At this point, I am being vain and excessively overconfident about my capacities. However, there is a strong basis for me to even think remotely that what I have created would have a place in the history of meditation. We are all not born to become great historic figures, except for one or two. All of us will be forgotten even by our grandchildren, if we have any. Yet, people who are over jealous, like me, think that we might be one among those great personalities that will survive the time of historic proportion. So you will forgive me for even writing this subsection. That is why I wrote this background chapter. Since I was 17 and I read the Bhagavad Gita, as you already know, I had this strange vision that I too one day would be like the writer of the epic scripture, who is known as Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta. He waited till the age of 60 years old before he actually started to propagate his philosophy, religion, meditation practice, which, by the way, is a devotional type, and singing or kirtan type. Up till the age of 60, he was creating materials that he will use in his later years to spread his knowledge to the world, and eventually his organization that we now know as ISKCON was born, and he was the founder. I will not go further into the struggles and tribulations that he must have faced. However, I'm sure that it was no easy task being 60 years old, going to America alone, and creating a worldwide movement. What I'm sure of, and what he claims, is he had the grace of God with him. In fact, without it, such a feat wouldn't be possible also. Coming back to the story of unified meditation, I do not know if I have the strength, the will, or the ability to create an institution or foundation that is based on my unified meditation practice. Without an organization, my philosophies, techniques, principles written in this book will never see the day of light further than a few years, I'm sure. Even if somehow you are reading this book 10 years from now or later on, it means that there was a large organizational effort put so that it reached in the palm of your hands. By the way, it is 2024 now. On the other hand, if I fail to build the organizational strength, structures, and systems to hold my philosophies of unified meditation, then we can be sure that besides a few of you who are reading this book, nobody else would have ever known about me or unified meditation. You can say that I'm at the crossroad of history. However, in the event that everything goes right, then I believe that unified meditation is so powerful and so correct that it will live on for thousands and thousands of years. But for that, I cannot just create any organization in the image of any of today's organization. What do I mean by that? Let me explain to you very briefly. The basic nature of organization is that it is designed to establish a certain practice, service, or product. But since we are talking about a meditation organization, which might be confused to a religious organization, the objective of such organization is to make sure that the rules established by the founder or by the founding members or by a group of people is followed verbatim. Any deviation from the core teachings would be undesired. So the organizational structures of people and processes, as well as the various systems, will make sure that only the people who are dogmatic, obstinate, power hungry, status conscious will be able to survive and carry the organization forward. Consequently, this is everything that I do not want unified meditation to be. For those of you who haven't worked with organizations in detail at a leadership position, this might sound a bit confusing, but for those who have been leaders or associated with leaders or who have done research in that subject will know what I'm talking about. Because of my decades of management consulting experience and related research, I have a certain know-how on how to design my organization for unified meditation so that it doesn't uh, fall in the trap of power, status, and status quo. But if you do not involve those elements, then the organization will never grow, and it will not survive beyond a few years because anarchy will settle in. However, I believe that because of the nature of the product or service or practice that unified meditation itself is, I believe that I could design an organization that would strive without basically ego. Let me explain to you what this means. In the organization, you have the lowest rank, which is the assistant, followed by the officers, then the managers and the CEO, then the board of directors and the chairman. This is mainly in the functional aspect of our organization. And then in various religion organization, on the ability dimension, you will have the beginners, the masters, and the masters of the masters. Some call themselves swamis, others rinpoches, and the like. So when I say I want to design an organization without ego, I mean that these titles will have to either go or would be meaningless and would just be the names of steps. How am I going to do that? And even if it materialized for a few years, after the 10th year, we will go back to human nature and everybody is gonna feel the organization with ego like anybody else's organization. I don't have the answers yet, but I think that it's not impossible. Forgive me if I mention too much about Buddhism, but this is Asia, and we are very accustomed to Buddhism stories. So let me tell you another instance from Buddhism. Buddha declared that he doesn't want people to worship him. So that was the hallmark of Buddhism as an institution. However, look at any Buddhist temples, and you will have people praying, begging at the statue of Buddha as if he was God. So basically, his tenet that he or any of his followers shouldn't be worshipped failed miserably. It is in a human's nature to worship something higher, more powerful. If in order to stay true to his principles, he had enforced people not to worship him, his statues, I mean, and if any of his enlightened followers actually tried to implement that, then the people would have turned to some other religion or meditation practice. So that is a compromise that every organization has got to do. You might start with a great noble cause, but then you'll have to accept the misconception of people of that particular time and place in order to survive as an organization. Similarly, I am talking about an organization that is free of ego. purely devoted to enlightenment, liberation, nirvana, happiness, holistic living, and all the concepts that I have outlaid in my trilogy of the unified theory of motivation and living books. I will do my best to create such an organization because I know that humanity deserves to be happy and transcend suffering. So, will unified meditation find a place in the history of meditation? I believe that it's not only for me that it is important, but for the thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of souls that are reincarnating in the coming decades, centuries, and millenniums. These souls have been wanting what I am promising, that is, systematic, scientific enlightenment, liberation, and transcendence from suffering. So, what I am sure of is that I am just a medium for them to get what they have worked so hard, sacrificed so much, and done so much penance for in their many, many past lives. Myself, I have attained enlightenment, liberation, and transcendence from suffering. If you ask me on a personal level, I couldn't care less about this organization. I'm done. I mean, after I die, it's over for me. I need to do this for the upcoming generation. You, them, might not know what I'm talking about now, but deep inside of you, if you are reading this book, you know very well what I'm talking about. Through great effort, good luck, and the grace of my ascended masters, I have attained this knowledge, and now I must make sure that it is passed on. History of unified meditation will be written one way or the other, whether I want it or don't want it, because it is the call of millions of souls that are reincarnating. My honest answer is that I have written this book for those millions of souls. They have tried so many techniques, done so much good, but still something didn't add up for them because, as I told you earlier on, the organizations that were propagating the knowledge were themselves founded on the wrong philosophies. How can a tree give apples if the seed that was planted was that of a lemon? Now that I have laid out the premise for whom this book is, that is, the reincarnating millions of souls, let me be more specific and talk in more material ways about the audience for my book. These millions of souls will be reborn, some as men, some as women. They will take up different professions, from physical based to highly intellectual. Some would be very ambitious, while others would be of very low profile. So I'm talking about the wide human spectrum. But what they will all have in common is a strong desire to be happy and not to believe in the promises of materialism, consumerism, capitalism, and even religious fanaticism. This small group of millions among this large group of billions of inhabitants of Earth will be seeking something that is holistic, unselfish, unbiased, unglamorous. They will be rising above the fake nature of influencers of today. They will be able to recognize the true promises as opposed to fake promises. I would be a fool to say that my predictions will be correct, but still, I foresee that the readers of my book would be people who would have tried various meditation techniques by the time they stumble on my book, or as we discussed earlier on one of my organizations. They would have realized that any single meditation technique wouldn't have been the best option for them to reach whatever goal they had begun their meditation practice for. Then, when they would read this book, which is very different from any conventional books on meditation, then they will feel attracted, and the soul inside them will pull them towards this practice. This book will surely not be popular among people who are too rigid or who require the founder to be of the stature of the Dalai Lama. I am a nobody, and people who cannot comprehend that a nobody can actually teach everything much better than somebody who is a super icon. They will not be able to read this book. This is because too much negative thoughts and blasphemy will occur in them with regards to what I am writing in my teachings and so on. To be even more specific, this book is written for people with some high level of educational capacity, because the concepts are quite extensive. To understand this book, the reader needs to have at least read some or many other meditation books, as well as books on science, at least, if not psychology. This book wouldn't work for somebody who needs to be convinced that meditation needs to be practiced in any form. This is a book for people who are already sold on meditation, if I may say so. This chapter has been very long, as long as a book itself. So I'm trying to wrap up things. I could have written more on the above section, but I believe that it sums up pretty much what I wanted to say on that particular topic. Coming to what people should expect from my book, I would say that they can expect real transformation that comes from deep inside the soul. My treatise is not only an intellectual one, but it's a whole spiritual, psychological, emotional, behavioral, lifestyle transformation that I'm talking about. By reading this book, you will be able to understand what really meditation is from somebody who has done it all. You'll be able to develop your own meditation techniques if need be and modify the current existing meditation techniques to suit your current need. You will realize that you have to keep changing your meditation techniques over time. You will understand that meditation is like any sport or any activity where you need feedback, and based on that feedback, you must make changes in your practice to achieve your goal. From this book, you will understand the full potential of meditation. What can be achieved, what cannot be achieved, what is a realistic goal of meditation, and what is fake goals of meditation. By reading this book, you will have a framework of unified meditation or meditation as a whole that is so simple that you can just go ahead and teach your brother, sister, or friend, or colleague, or parents by yourself. I have written this book in such an intuitive and natural way. All my years of training and teaching people difficult concepts have done me great service when it comes to writing a book like this. My other four books are written with such and same vigor, as well as simplicity and clarity. After reading this book, you will no more be confused. It is my promise that by reading this book, your connection with your inner self, higher self, personal God, divine energy, cosmic energy, whatever you want to call it, will be established. The reason of the disconnect between your mind and your soul is exactly the missing knowledge from this book. By having this book lying around your house or office or on your mobile phone, you can expect people to give you a status of somebody who really knows and is seeking the truth. This book is for people who are aware and ready to reach enlightenment, liberation, transcendence over suffering in this lifetime. So you can expect a great level of resonance inside of you. Around you, you will experience various kinds of synchronicities that will establish that this is the right time for you to read this book and to practice his teaching. If these synchronicities do not occur and somehow you develop a negative feeling towards me and this book and its teaching, then it's okay. It means that you still have got to go through other teachers before you reach me. So continue your journey and hopefully we'll meet again. But if you got hold of this book, most likely you are destined to practice the teachings that I offer here. So expect magic. Of course, not the kind of David Copperfield's magic, but I mean, you know what I mean. I will not go further on this. I try to differentiate my book on unified meditation from the title itself. By putting unified, I'm trying to position myself, as I mentioned earlier, as a consolidator of all the meditation techniques. And then, as you must have observed by flipping the pages or just going through the table of contents, this book is a highly logical, well developed book in terms of editorial practice. The biggest difference of this book from any other meditation book or any other book is that it was written in the video book format as you are watching now, or you might have heard that it was done so. I used voice to text app, as you can see on the screen. I've been training, motivating, and inspiring people for the last 25 years on stage. So, speaking is so natural to me. There is something magical that happens when I face people, the camera. Everything just comes together, and I get inspiration from unknown sources, and I speak, and people are awed. It took me lots of practice to be able to write a book in this way. The advantage for the readers when reading a book that is written using voice, like you are doing now, is that it's a very natural flow. You'll feel that I'm talking to you personally in your ears. Another big differentiator from other meditation book is that this one is filled with diagrams and not just text. They say a diagram speaks 1,000 words, and they are truly correct. And then I use words to explain those diagrams. What I found out is that using diagrams, I can explain very difficult concepts, even to people who have never been to school, college. They could be young children to elderly people. It just seems that people understand diagrams much more easily than just talk. This book is written in a step-by-step approach, going higher and higher, deeper and deeper. Also, I start with the big picture first and then go into details later on. I've tried to make the book as personalized as possible without being too familiar with the reader. Overall, this is a great book for you to read, and I hope that it will be one of the best sellers in the years to come. And that will be possible only if you recommend it to your friends, if, of course, you are satisfied with its contents. I have written this book in three formats: the video book format, the audiobook format, and the ebook format. Some of you might be holding the physical book format, but whichever format you are reading, my suggestion is that you read cover to cover. Start with this first chapter and move on to chapter 2, 3, 4, 5. Do not try to jump the pages because each chapter is built on the earlier chapter. Basically, I wrote it like a story or a novel. I recommend that wherever there are diagrams, you first look at the diagram and then read the text in whichever section you are in. Some of you might be voracious reader and you'll be able to go through the book in one sitting or two, while others, you might need a year to complete this book. Statistically, only 10% of the people who get hold of a book actually finish the book. So if you are among the 90% who are just skimming through the books with the lack of motivation or intellectual capacity to fully finish the book, then I suggest that you at least look at the diagrams and try to understand any of the diagrams that interest you. That will do you a lot of good, and the rest, your inner guide will show you the way. You can say that I have written this book in unison with your inner soul, inner guide, higher self, personal gods, cosmic energy, whatever you want to call it. So I complete the introduction, and I hope that you'll enjoy the upcoming pages of this book, The Unified Meditation, the guidebook into the soul.